3, 2, 1. And it crashed into the wall and everybody's sad. Something went wrong. Something terribly, terribly, terribly went wrong. We don't know what happened, Bob, but it broke. All right.
Who's Bob?
I don't know. Anyways, there's your cold open. All right. Welcome to the NerdBrand Podcast, everybody. I am Jason. Say hi, Mitch.
Hi, Mitch.
Say hi, John.
Hi, John.
And today we have a new team member. Say hi.
Hi, my name is Coral.
Hi, Coral. Welcome to the show. So today is our Nerd-o-ween episode, and we're going to talk about shock advertising, particularly because it's Halloween. So I really like these kinds of commercials. So on this episode of NerdBrand Podcast, it's our annual All About Halloween episode. All things scary in the nerdverse. So shock advertising is made to deliberately startle and offend its audience by violating norms for social and personal ideas.
Wow.
Yeah, that's actually the definition of it. I Googled it. I did my job. I did
What's
what I was
Google?
supposed to do.
That's great.
I don't know. It's that weird thing everybody types stuff into to kind of figure out what's going on in the world, and then they realize wait a minute, that's probably not true. So,
No, that's called Wikipedia.
oh, right. Yeah.
Definitions are good.
So
Yes.
basically, this is about ads that scare the crap out of you. So, you know,
Intentionally or unintentionally.
sometimes both. So we want to share what scares us. Also talk about some horror movies or series that you guys have been watching. We can get to share that. My personal favorite has been Midnight Mass. I loved that on Netflix. I thought it was very well done. I was talking with somebody at a networking event last night. You're probably supposed to talk about business at networking events, but that didn't happen. We ended up talking about that instead for 30 minutes.
Oh my gosh. In the spirit of Halloween?
Yeah. She really enjoyed it. And then met another fellow nerd of ours. I'll give a shout out to Danny. You know who you are, sir, if you're listening. He kind of went on about how bad Halloween kills. I haven't seen it,
Yeah.
but that's like what it's supposed to be, a revival of the movie Halloween or something, or
Well, it's a sequel.
oh,
Because Laurie Strode is all grown up and an adult
right.
woman, practically a grandmother, I guess, by now. So it is a continuation of the original story.
Oh,
That's as much as I know.
yeah. I think that's as much as everybody got out of it too. I don't, because I didn't see any ads a whole lot for it or trailer. I know that, which is probably understandable since DC Fandom Fest happened recently, so that kind of overshadowed everything. So I may trail rabbits here, but just try to keep up. Because I had an emotional week because of the Flash, trailer.
Oh, the Flash trailer.
Yeah. For those that don't know, it's like Michael Keaton's back as Batman.
Really?
Yes.
In my book,
Ooh.
the only real movie Batman
Yeah.
in my universe, anyway.
He was my
I
first.
don't know.
Batman.
I do think Christian Bale did a nice job. Come on.
Yeah.
He did, and the guys know this because I say it all the time. Is to me, Christian Bale, the director whose name just went completely off my head. His version
Nolan.
Christopher Nolan's Batman is almost like James Bond with a cape to me. Less that kind of less. It's all
That's like
argue.
a really big stretch.
it's all
I mean,
about.
I'm picking up the disdain. Okay,
I
but
enjoy-
I
no,
don't
no.
think it has anything like James Bond.
I enjoyed it, but it's about the toys and the gadgets, and rather than the kind of, to me, Batman's more of a film noir detective. Okay, it's gritty, it's kind of earthy, it's dark, foggy nights on an empty
It was like that.
street. With
I'm getting defensive on behalf of.
yeah,
Christian Bale.
I've noticed
So,
that.
Is
I
there
noticed
one
that.
thing that
You
you
suddenly
like
you
from
feel
those?
strongly about.
Is there one thing you like?
I
from those?
enjoyed them, but to me, they're not quintessential.
They're different.
Not the mood of the
Right.
Batman. If you ever watched
Okay.
the animated
Yes.
series,
Yes.
to me, that did the best job, aside from the first Michael Keaton Batman,
Yeah.
of capturing the mood and attitude of the comic book for me.
Yeah, and
So-
Batman is kind of a one of those he's an anti-hero, so he's kind of a little scary. But there was some trade comics a while back. One called it was in their what they called their Elseworlds series, and it's where he actually becomes a vampire and he tackles Dracula. And they also tackled that and did the same kind of storyline where he didn't become a vampire, but they did that in not the animated series. It was like the Batman later. It was another animation series that ran for like 2.5 seasons where he actually faced Dracula. as well. See, I'm keeping the theme of the Halloween.
Yeah,
thing.
I noticed.
He's bringing
I
us
noticed
back
it.
to
I
center.
noticed that. I noticed that.
Anyways, because I have always wanted to see a really good superhero movie that was kind of horror type based. And months ago, I
Spawn.
mentioned. Well, Spawn is like, I don't know, man. I like Spawn, but I don't know. That's really dark. But if that's your gig, that's.
But if you want horror and superheroes, that's probably the most. That's the definitive.
Yeah, and you have Blade. If you've not seen the movie Blade 2, you should watch that one, not the first one. Blade 2.
First one's okay. Second one's good. The third one.
Third one's awful. Ryan Reynolds won't even own that.
Yeah, but the best part, the best parts of it are the parts with Ryan Reynolds. So,
like, there's two things I think he'll
He's
probably
great.
hack on is probably Green Lantern and then Blade 2, and just be like, no, that didn't happen.
I haven't seen either of those.
Yeah, it had Triple H in it. From if you're a wrestling fan, it had him in it. So it was all right, but it wasn't great. Blade 2 was like really good though. It was a really good spin on horror.
well, that's because Guillermo del Toro directed it. Is why it was so good.
Yeah. Anybody here know these? Coral's kind of look on her face like, I have no idea who this is. And John, you're
I'm
so
still
stoic,
stuck.
I can't figure it
I'm
out.
still stuck on film noir. I feel very uncultured at the moment.
I'm a movie freak, man. I mean, not just superhero and genre stuff. I just like film. It's like you get my family in a room watching movies, and you'd probably get so annoyed because we'll point out things and we'll start discussing certain aspects. I also have an uncle who worked in the business, so you get him in the room, and it's just like either you'll be enthralled or you'll get frustrated and get up and just walk away because you can't watch the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys are talking the whole time.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I would love that if I had a little more time in my schedule. Definitely, there are lots of movies that I would like to watch.
Yeah.
I like to watch movies.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: with the advent of COVID and everything, and the studios, doing dual releases where they release it in theater, but then they also release it on streaming services. Do you have any feelings about that one way or the other? Is that good? Do you think that's good? Do you think it's bad? Does it change the movie experience for you at all? Or have you even really watched anything that's been released recently?
It does kind of. I don't really love it, I mean, I've got teens and they're telling me, "Oh, this movie's coming out." Oh, and I'm like, "Oh, great, you want to go see it?" And they're like, "Oh no, it's coming out on some streaming service." I'm like, "Oh, well then I don't care."
Yeah, I mean,
I like the event of going to the
Right.
So for me, it feels right.
Yep.
It's just like, oh, wah, wah, it's just not. It doesn't feel as special. It
It's an
doesn't feel as
experience.
exciting. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, there's been a lot of wah-wahs in the box office lately, and so I think that's led to it. But it's like you've got 3 movies out right now. I know there's Halloween Kills. There's Dune. Dune is cleaning up pretty well. But if you're not for those listening, if you're not a fan of Dune or don't know anything about it, think Game of Thrones, but in space. And then you have, of course, we have the Eternals that are out. So you got like 3.
That's not out yet.
It's not out yet?
Not yet.
Well, I thought that
It premiered, but it is not.
it's not
premiered in the
distributed.
US.
Okay, all right.
What is it?
Eternals
It's
is
the next Marvel.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you got Salma Hayek, you've got Angelina Jolie. It's a whole new slew of characters. So
It's a post.
What?
It's
Don't particularly love her.
which one? Salma
What's
Hayek
she
or
into?
Angelina
I'm
Jolie? 'Cause you
Team
kind of
Jen.
went.
I am Team Jen, so I don't know, and I love Marvel, so I'm not really loving this information that you've just given me.
way to go.
Sorry. Wow. All right. Well, maybe the guys will edit that out. I don't know.
I don't know. She doesn't scream Marvel to me. Why would they choose her?
Which one are we talking about?
Angelina Jolie.
Oh.
Ugh.
Oh.
Well, we're not having her on the show.
Coral, do you
Yeah.
have strong feelings about this?
I already told you. I am Team Jen all day.
Yeah. Well, I don't know where to go with that. But yeah.
Steer us back.
Yeah.
Steer us back.
So, that's kind of what's out in the theaters right now. But so it's a little like the streaming thing. I think HBO put out a thing saying like, yeah, they pretty much single-handedly have helped save the movie theater and industry because of how they've put out releases both on streaming and in the theater. And I'm like, well, there's not a lot of choices, guys. So I don't know how you can claim that.
Well, what's funny to me is that they hail the the box office champion for the week or whatever because they made maybe what 100 million or something like that.
Yeah.
When it's I don't know if that's the actual number, but you can tell it's a fraction of what it would have been pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Yet everybody's just championing and saying, "Oh yeah, it's doing killer business at the box office." and it's really doing probably a third maybe
Yeah.
of what it would have originally
Well, there's a
done.
lot- it's like speculation on oil prices. That's kind of how movies work. It's like we think it's going to make this, and then something else completely different happens. But anyways, when you hear the word shock advertising, what comes to mind?
Everyone think.
I have my answer.
Okay.
Right. The Mayhem commercials. I was thinking, oh, what
Love 'em.
commercials have been shocking? And I thought, oh, those when they came out with when Allstate came out with Mayhem,
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was fabulous. Do you know what I'm talking about? The
Mhm.
guy who's like
Yeah.
just busted up and falls like through trees and lands in a car, and you're just like, did I just see? I mean, obviously that
He
it's
is
not-
Mayhem.
Yeah.
Right, he is. Yeah, it's crazy.
I love
Yeah.
those. Actually, it's on my top of the list in my brain too. It's just those insurance commercials that come out and do that, and you're like, wait, what?
There's another one, and I don't know if you see them as much anymore, but they were running anti-smoking commercials, and most of them they were geared, you could tell, more toward teens. And it's like I'm trying to think of one, and it might be several of them running together, but it's like a kid's got a pack of cigarettes, and like this creature jumps out of it,
Oh,
and it's like it's going to attack him or something like that, because they're basically their cigarettes will kill you is the idea, right? Well, they take it to almost that horror movie kind of feel where there's a monster inside them waiting to devour you. So just leave them alone.
right.
Those were pretty.
There's some truth.
Those
to
were
that.
pretty intense. Pretty
Yeah,
intense.
there's the ones with the people who have actually had, their stuff removed. 'cause
Oh, Right.
they're
That's
throat cancer
right.
and
They
things
put
like
the
that. I mean,
little
that's-
thing up to their trachea,
Right.
and they're telling you this
That'll get your
happened to me.
attention.
Oh yeah.
That's right. I forgot about those.
Yeah, see, so shock advertising is not always Halloween related or scary horror movie. It's just something that's just going to grab your attention. But I always felt like it was good for that moment. But how long could you actually play that and get like the most bang for your buck out of that? Because I mean, there's some that have gone a little too far.
Yeah, there's a line. I mean, like a company like ADT, they use fear and shock value. The commercial comes in with a guy breaking in your house, and
Right.
I mean, it fits perfectly with the brand, of course. But I think there's some that definitely are gonna, if you cross the line and it's unrealistic or unrelatable, then you've missed your mark.
Right.
Yeah. So imagine all that money putting behind that to get the talent, concepting that video, doing all of that work.
Right.
Well, the other side of it, going with a shock kind of method of advertising, you have to wonder. You see it the first time and it makes a real impact. See it the second time, it's got a little bite to it. The third time, it seems like you get most of your payoff for people when they see it the first time. But then to me, the question becomes, okay, maybe they remember the commercial, but will they remember what it's about, or will it just stick in their mind the event that takes place that's shocking and not associate it with the brand or the
Well,
message?
I think that depends on how well they've put the commercial together.
Yeah.
How well they've put that advertising.
I'd love to hear. I hate focus groups. Jonathan knows this. I think one of the first things he ever heard about me was that I hated focus groups, and I won't even go into why. But I would like to see you get a group of people, show them one of these ads for the first time, then get them rooms, okay, or have them all write it down individually. What was the brand?
Yeah.
What was it about? What was it for? Now, it wasn't a shock ad, and you guys might be too young to remember. But Wendys did a commercial with the three old ladies standing at the counter, and they're ordering their hamburger, and they bring the burger, and they take the top bun off, and it's this little bitty thing on this great big bun. And this old lady goes, "Where's the beef?"
I actually remember those commercials.
As a concept, it's fantastic, but they found afterwards nobody could remember what fast food chain it was for.
Interesting.
So people remember the campaign. They remember the tagline, "Where's the beef?" They didn't remember that it was Wendy's. So part of this is to say that with like public service announcement type commercials, like this anti-smoking, it's probably easier to remember a shock ad about smoking because it's not a brand. It's like a lifestyle choice that people are familiar with
Right.
in their daily life. Works really well there. I really wonder how well it works for the sake of a particular brand of something. I don't have an answer. It's just it's an interesting question.
When you have no competition, it's like either smoke or don't smoke.
Right.
There's no alternative.
Exactly.
It's a little easier, I'd say.
Yeah. I mean, ads that I remember, I know M&M's, it's not scary, but I remember their ads because you got two major mascots in it that are either scared or chasing Santa Claus or whatever, depending on the holiday. The brand is still very up in front. But your point about like, where's the beef? Yeah. I mean, you could really overshadow the actual brand itself with the gimmick.
Well, and honestly, Mayhem is an example of that for me because I had to Google that this morning. I was like, Mayhem,
right?
Who's he with
Who's
again?
that with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Allstate, right?
I know. Yeah. I looked it up. Yeah, it is. It's Allstate. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, State Farm does commercials.
Right.
You've got we are farmers. I won't finish it. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, am I not
those
supposed
are good.
Yeah. So
They're gonna have to pay
for
us now.
YouTube, that may not be in the show because YouTube really just hates anything that if it hums the sound of the music, they cut it or mute it. So not telling the guys in the booth there that you need
I don't
to edit
think I
that.
did it right, so don't sweat it.
Yeah, we can get away with that. Don't worry. And if we all sat here and did it in unison, maybe that would be a problem.
In harmony.
And
Let's harmonize.
Yeah, it'd also be a little weird too.
Barbershop quartet.
That's if this all doesn't work out, that's the fallback. So I hope there's a falsetto in the group.
Oh my gosh.
Mitch?
You guys are silly.
Any Halloween memories real quick as we start to get close to wrapping up? Any like in your childhood or movies or commercials? Yeah, anything that you've got that you have in your memory banks?
Well, I kind of have two things.
Okay.
And one is kind of a sideline, but it's interesting because my wife and I were talking about this. Has been months ago. We noticed a trend in advertising that is kind of horrifying. I call it and I even wrote a blog post about this several years ago. Cannibal food-based commercials. And what I mean by that is commercials where you have a food product that is eating other food of its own kind. And it became a trend.
Can you give it an example?
What?
Yeah, you might want to clarify that one a little bit.
Was it
And remember,
cinnamon
this show's
toast
G-rated.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Yeah. I was thinking about that earlier when you talked about the M&Ms. Wasn't there one where one M&M ate the
another?
other M&M?
Exactly.
And I was you were just like,
Yeah. Then there was the
Did
cinnamon
this just
toast.
happen?
Right. Then there's the cinnamon toast crunch where the pieces of cinnamon toast crunch are eating other pieces, and I'm like, what the? What's happening here?
I feel this 100%.
That's horrifying.
It's so uncomfortable.
Come here, my wife. She goes, why is this
Did that
happening?
What? Right.
And why are so many brands doing it?
These
Why?
ones have eyes and smiles, but these ones don't. So they're edible, but you're not. I don't understand. What is the hierarchy here of foods and snacks?
Why do I want to? I don't want to eat that. I want to run away from it.
Right.
Anyway, that was just.
Do you remember?
I remember.
Okay.
But it was. But
Did
it was.
it traumatize you?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. I remember the Cinnamon Toast Crunch one.
Yeah.
I mean, he had legs and arms and everything.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
flopping around.
And the M&Ms one, I remember them, but there were others.
Shocking.
It just kind of became like a trend. It's like some, a bunch of ad guys in your room think, oh, I like that. Let's do that.
Right.
Why?
Yeah.
That's a why.
Focus group.
Yeah. They probably did a focus group. They were all like, you know what? That really got my attention.
Well. Shock factor.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
Bring
that's
it
shocking.
back to center.
You're talking about it.
We're talking about it on our podcast.
The other thing I wanted to mention, you were talking about memories.
Mm-hmm.
And a scary commercial memory goes back to my childhood. When The Exorcist came out back in the early mid-'70s, there were, of course, copycats that came out thereafter by smaller studios. There was a copycat movie called Beyond the Door. And it had this really creepy voice that sounded like this, Beyond the Door. And there was this woman's face who came on the screen. Her eyes were white, and this deep, growly voice came out of her mouth that said, "Who are you?"
Oh, my God.
It scared that.
Like it had taken over her
body.
body.
And that commercial traumatized me. And I'd be laying in bed at night, and my parents would be in the living room watching television. And if I heard that commercial come on, I wanted to run out of the house.
Aw, little Mitch.
Little Mitch.
but-
That's going to be
Inner
a
child
tagline here.
Mitch.
That
needs
should be a whole
little
episode.
I know.
reconciliation about this commercial.
It
didn't
was
know that this-
traumatizing.
yeah.
It scared the crap out of me. It was just that voice and that face. But then after seeing it, just hearing it just ran chills through me.
Yeah.
But
I didn't mean for this episode to turn into like a therapy session or anything. I swear to God.
We'll save it for off air. It's okay.
I think our time is about up.
I mean, we got like, it's almost 12. We can keep going. Yeah. They're motioning in the booth like, you can keep going.
I think they like it so far. Maybe that's why.
Just so you know, if you get a chance, go on YouTube and look up some classic horror movie commercials. It's very entertaining, and it was like a cornucopia.
Yeah.
Of schlock.
Well, since you're mentioning commercials, because I'm a big, I do love movies myself. I've always for a long time, but I love the trailers of them, and I've been very critical over the years of particularly, I won't say what kind of trailers, but Mitch will know what I'm talking about. To give away too much about the storyline, he knows what franchise I'm referring to.
Yeah.
But they've done a really good job lately of curtailing that at DC Comics.
Such snobbery.
I will just say it. It's DC.
Yeah.
These giants are just terrible.
Yeah. So, but, some of the, for like Netflix has been doing a lot of trailers now and pushing that out across channels. And I go back to Midnight Mass and how that was done. There was only 2 trailers and a teaser. That was it. And you still had no idea what you were getting into. It had a very Stephen King type feel to it. So they really, by less is more, it actually intrigued me to want to watch it. I only found out later that the creator of that also did the Bly House.
The Haunting of Hill House and
The Haunting of Hill, yeah.
And the Haunting of, was it Bly House?
Yeah, his Bly House or something. And, now there's going to be another one. He's going to adapt Edgar Allan Poe's stuff. So they're working on that series, and I thought I wrote it down and what it was. But nope, I did a terrible job of that.
I heard what you were.
I'm looking at his paper; it's completely blank.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a nice pretend, though.
Yeah, when it comes to the notes, I'm looking at Coral's, and she's actually got notes and things
so
written
prepared.
down.
Would you guys like to know?
Sure.
I
yes.
answered the question.
She even printed hers in color.
Yes.
Well, it's just because I have a color printer, guys.
Yeah. Well, there's that.
Go the extra mile.
But since somebody actually went through the questions and answered them, let's finish out with that. So, what's your favorite horror movie?
Oh gosh. I don't think I have a favorite horror movie.
Is that what you wrote?
But
on
I
paper?
will say,
Are you a fan?
I don't like. I do. I like. I don't like the gruesome stuff. I am not into that.
Oh,
And
I don't like
most
it
of
either.
is so some of the
Yeah.
so the horror films that I like are kind of the more classic, like you said, kind of the Stephen King, some Spielberg. The modern day Quentin Tarantino. He just sort of scares me. But it's like Misery. Okay, that's some good classic, suspenseful, scary. So I do like some of the sci-fi stuff. Close. I like Close Encounters, stuff like that. I just don't like any of the gruesome stuff.
Yeah, I'm not into gore, anything that is amputated, which is funny because I like Star Wars. But for those out there listening, somebody always loses a hand in Star Wars or something. But I can't really get into that in the horror genre at all.
Like Saw?
Like the Saw.
No.
Like Saw, yeah.
No
I'm not a Saw person.
way.
I tried to watch
Right.
one and
That's
just
torture
out
horror,
there.
basically, is what it
Yeah.
is. Saw,
Yeah.
and there was Hostel.
Right.
Yeah,
Was
yeah.
Not a
another
fan of
series.
those.
Yeah, which they have actually not rebooted that, but there's a new one out now that's more, it's not called Saw or anything. I forget what it's called, but it kind of centers around the icon of the swirl that was on the...
Chris Rock's in it.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, those kinds of movies are not my jam either. So
I like the classics, like Candyman, and I think there's a series coming out too.
No, they rebooted it. Yeah,
Mhm.
they
Yeah.
rebooted it this year.
yeah, there's a funny TikTok out there where guys like going, Candyman, or he's mispronouncing it. And the other guy's meaning like, you mean Candyman? And he's like, yeah, Candyman. He's like, you mean Candyman? And he's getting him to say it like 7 times so he'd show up. And it's funny. Anyways, I digress.
What is your all's go-to? Like when September rolls in, October rolls in, like what movie do you have to watch?
Good question.
Because like
I'm a
Hocus Pocus, you got to watch
Yeah.
that once at least.
What did you say?
Hocus Pocus.
Oh yeah, just watch that.
It's not really like a horror
That's,
movie,
well,
but
that's
No, but it's
definitely generational.
It's a get in the spirit type of movie,
It's
and they
fun.
just don't make. I mean, I literally watched that
Mhm.
Sunday night, and I just sit there, just almost smiling the whole time. Going,
It's
they just don't-
nostalgic.
They just
It's
don't
probably-
make them like this anymore. It
Yeah.
just was good, wasn't it? Disney.
yeah.
Ugh.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Conjuring. I know that's weird.
Ooh.
That's not that old, really.
No, it's not. I have not seen the third one yet, and I will go to see it, even though I understand it. Maybe it wasn't that great, but I don't care. I still want to see it. Yeah, somebody's already in a booth. Robert's like, no.
Never-ending Story is one that we watch around Halloween time.
Huh.
Yeah.
I know.
I guess that has scary
Yeah.
moments.
It's
isn't it?
mystical.
Well, he's up in the attic. It's
Yeah.
raining. It's
That-
lightning.
That's getting back into my.
Right.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
watching that when I was a kid, and it scared
Yeah.
me a little bit when he was up there. Yeah. What terrified me was the wolf.
Exactly.
That was terrifying. Yeah,
Yes.
as a kid. That you're starting to bring up things. Next time we'll be talking about when Optimus Prime died, and I'm just gonna be like, crying.
no.
Like,
That's a whole other podcast.
I guess so.
Function.
We don't really do horror Halloween-y things. Sometimes we just do scary movies. Like one Halloween a few years ago, my kids were younger. We did the Jurassic Park series. So I wore this shirt today.
Yes. Everybody wore a themed shirt today, and I am not. If you're watching this on video, because I didn't do laundry. It's okay. I own it.
Godzilla
fired.
is the king of the monsters. So
Yes.
Yeah, you and John
Yes.
actually kind of being in sync shocked me this morning. I was really
I found this and I saw your text and I was like, I'm gonna wear this.
You're
Good on
wearing
you.
Godzilla as well?
Sort of. It's a sound
I do
card.
like
It's
Godzilla.
album cover.
I do. Did you guys see the most recent one, the Kong versus?
yes,
What'd you think?
it was a blast.
I liked
It
it
was a
too.
blast.
I really liked it.
I mean,
See, I like this. I don't like the.
yeah. It was what two giant monsters fighting
Yes.
should be.
And then
was,
at the end, they're friends.
Yep. Allies.
spoilers.
I saw. Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm new.
No,
to
I'm
this.
just making a joke. If you haven't seen it by now,
but
I'm
she-
gonna text you guys this little cartoon that I saw online. I saved it to my phone. I'm gonna have to look really far back, but it's this adorable little sketch cartoon, and it's King Kong, and he's like helping. He's obviously bigger. He's in a city, and he's bigger than all the buildings, and he's helping like lift something as they're building a skyscraper, and Godzilla is behind him like, WTF, and King Kong's little comment bubble is like, I'm different now. It's like so cute. I'll send it to you.
That's awesome.
I never got into those kinds of monster features. I don't know, because I mean, how does nothing's going to end like you think, and you're just sitting there watching it, and I'm like, well, that's a lot of people that just died. So I mean. So I don't know where this is going.
I think only like a couple people died in that one, and they were the bad ones.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
wanted to
Oh,
die.
yeah,
We needed
yeah.
to end them.
Okay.
And
It's
they
a
died
fun
by
flick.
They died by the hands of the monster, so nobody had blood on their hands,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So,
Yeah. Still not buying it. I'm still not sold on seeing that one.
what about you, Jonathan? What are your go-tos other than Hocus Pocus?
Like I said, Candyman's a good one.
Yeah.
I rely on that one for my go-to Halloween. I'm not a big fan of the genre, I think I've talked about that before. I just kind of imagine too much when I'm in my house. And I just don't like that feeling as I'm walking down my hallway.
Right.
Like you said, when you see these, you hear a commercial and you start
Right.
freaking out, you want to run out of your house.
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
like that
Right,
feeling.
right.
Do you-
And I'm not
When-
superstitious, but
When the
sometimes
lights are out, do you see
Right.
things out the corner of your eye and go?
Yeah, I
like,
have
oh,
a
that's
very
awesome.
vivid imagination. I know it's not
Exactly.
real, it's
Right,
not happening,
right,
but
right.
I just don't like that. I like to be able to walk
Exactly.
up and down my steps without
Getting
something grabbing my leg.
Spooked and yep.
Well, that's I think that's not to get into a whole
I'm a
other
big
thing, but
baby.
that's kind of the difference between modern horror and more classic horror is modern horror. A lot of modern horror revolves around things that make you think that could happen. That could happen to me. I can see that happen to me,
Well,
and that makes it too personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to be scared, but I'm a guy kind of. I want the good guys to win at the end.
I
I'm
don't know.
sorry,
It's
that's just the
kinda
way I
like-
am.
it's kind of like the scary of like the CSI stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up, not grew up, but I used to watch Law and Orders when it first came out, and then I know, don't do it. Oh my gosh, don't break the rule. So, but then they started having all these other spinoffs and things, and they would have these really scary ones, and I remember
Special Victims Unit.
I still remember a couple where I was laying in my bed, certain that there was someone under my bed, and I was like, we cannot watch the show anymore. This is way too scary.
I will not watch The Exorcism of Emily Rose ever again. There's one scene where she's staying with her boyfriend in the dorm or whatever, and he kind of wakes up. She's on the floor just looking at him in contorted position.
Oh, gosh.
It's just terrible. I don't know.
That's just scary.
It's just an image you don't need.
Yeah.
Right.
You
Yeah.
don't need
Not to
So-
go really deep into therapy, but yes, some
Yeah.
of us have PTSD, and so
And the
this
one-
is triggering.
Well,
Visual.
my mom.
I'm with you. If it's
Yeah.
scary and it's shocking, I mean, it's going to imprint
Right.
in
Yeah,
my
right.
mind. So that's why I just have a hard boundary around some
And
of
stuff
the
that
words
has
and
real life
stuff.
footage, like with The Conjuring, they have real life footage at the end of the film. It's okay. So especially with The Conjuring 2, there's real footage there. So that stuff, that's where I turn it off. That's where
Well,
I'm like, I'm
my-
not.
no.
My
I don't
mom
wanna see
always,
that.
my mom always said, "Why do you want to put that stuff in your head?"
Exactly.
And she had a she
Exactly.
had a point.
There are some crimes and things that have happened because they came out in a movie 1st, you know?
Reenactments.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's another one I'll never watch again. We'll wrap up here. Is I don't care much for The Fourth Kind. When I watched it, this is how dumb I am. I actually thought like, oh, I'm gonna watch an alien movie. No, no, it ain't. No, it's not. It's worse. It's so worse. You will have problems sleeping after.
Oh
Well,
my gosh.
This is why my go-to horror around Halloween, and I get the itch. It starts to get September, the weather starts to change. I want to watch, but there was a British studio called Hammer Studios
Okay.
that made classic horror movies from like the late 50s into the 70s.
Okay.
Yep.
Not Vincent Price. Christopher Lee
Yep.
played Dracula, and to me, he's the best Dracula there ever was.
Mm.
And he's sinister and he's bad, but it's like you said, it's not the kind of stuff where you like. It scared you, but you weren't. I mean, when you're a little kid, yeah, maybe you're afraid to turn the lights out.
What's
But
it called?
Hammer Studios.
Oh, okay.
They made like a string of Dracula movies. They made a string of Frankenstein movies with Grand Moff Tarkin from Star Wars.
Oh, I don't know his name.
Oh,
But I know who you're
God.
talking about. Yeah. I know
Oh
who
my
you're
Lord,
talking-
I can't believe
Yeah.
it.
A reference
Can
within a
Eric-
reference.
so
I
if
know
you're-
exactly.
I'm getting nervous.
I mean, everybody that's watching this show, or even the guy, like you can tell, like who's really deep in the nerdverse,
The
and then-
lore.
yeah, and the lore of it, because you watch that. In
can't Well,
his name.
Now,
Yeah.
hold on. I
Christopher
really
Lee.
like Star Wars and I really like Marvel, but I'm not going to remember names.
Well, see, I remember the actor because when I was a kid and first saw Star Wars, I thought, oh, he played Baron Frankenstein, or he played
right.
he played Van Helsing
Right.
in the Dracula
Right.
movies.
Yeah.
So that's why it stuck with me. That's why I remember.
Right.
But
Exactly.
I can't
You
believe I
you
can't remember his
remembered
name.
in the movie.
But-
That's
Yeah.
that's okay.
It
If you
was
don't remember his actual
Christopher
name.
Lee played Dracula, and he played Van Helsing in most of their Dracula movies. But if you haven't seen them, I highly recommend them. They're a ton of fun, and they're just scary enough without making you have to go seek therapy thereafter.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, I
Add
would
that to
agree
the
with
list.
that.
We
Yeah.
got one more week till Halloween.
Yeah.
so-
The last movie that I like, to answer the question, another favorite of mine is the movie Wolf with Jack Nicholson and Michelle
That's good.
Pfeiffer.
That is good.
Ah.
It
That is good.
It's one of the best werewolf tales that you can find out there. It's really good. So I recommend that.
It doesn't get talked
I'm
about a
gonna
lot.
I'm gonna watch a Halloween movie tonight.
Okay.
So I was gonna ask you guys what I should watch. You think it should be Wolf?
Depends on if you
If
have
you can find it.
This is too big of a question for Mitch.
Well, no. There's
Yep.
so many.
And so that broke him. John, what you got?
It's not a movie. I can't help you there. But, going to see Dracula every year, I don't know if you all have
Yeah.
down at Actors Theater. That's a different form of horror.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
just
I've
show
always
us all
wanted
up.
to.
Love that.
I
had
go
that
to Actors
advertised.
It's awesome.
Theater and I watch a horror play.
If you've
I
never
can do
been,
that.
it's very, very
I'm
good.
glad you said that because it was just advertised to me. I recently signed up to receive, I think I got them a long time ago and unsubscribed, but I've resubscribed to get emails
Mhm.
about, concerts and plays and things like that are happening. And I saw that.
Yeah, they've done it for
Classic.
years.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they always put some kind of twist on it every year that's a little
Mhm.
different than
Little
the previous year.
Well, in the
Keep people
Dracula, I think
coming.
he's different every year. So
Yeah.
it's always got a little bit of a different.
I've never seen the Actors Theater Dracula, which I've wanted to. But one year we went and saw the Louisville Ballet did a version
Mm.
of it,
Cool.
and it was different. It was neat.
Mhm.
Problem was we were so close to the stage, along with the music, I kept hearing.
Oh, you were distracted by the.
I could hear their
Yeah.
feet hitting the floor, and it's like it was like taking me out of the moment.
So
But-
don't sit in the first
Don't
row.
sit close.
Yeah.
Sit far enough back
Save
that you
some
don't hear
money.
their feet thumping on the
Right,
floor.
right.
But it was an interesting interpretation. I enjoyed
Right,
it.
right.
I really. I'm a Dracula fan anyway. But
Cool.
Well, that was enlightening.
Okay, so I'm not gonna go to the play tonight. So
Yeah.
what should I watch tonight?
It depends on what service you have, because one of the things I've learned in this area is no one service has every movie you want to watch.
All right, you guys can just slack me your ideas later.
Yeah, I have to.
I mean,
Clearly, we're not
I-
going to answer your question.
I can tell you to kind of dovetail to the beginning of the podcast episode here. I can tell you, if you have Netflix, check out Midnight Mass. I mean, it's not a terribly scary, frightful,
Okay.
but that's
or even
it's
gory.
a mini. It's like a mini series.
It is.
though, right?
So it's something that you can kind of go through over the weekend if you want to binge. But it's only like I
okay.
think 8 episodes, I
Okay.
believe.
Okay.
But
Maybe I'll do that with my
yeah,
kids.
Yeah, but it's got a pretty good mythos to it that I won't reveal because of you've not seen it. And,
Thanks.
yeah, I'm not gonna spoil anything. But I think you'll enjoy that one. So. Anyways, thanks everybody for listening to the podcast. You can find us at nerdbrandagency.com/podcast to find the latest episode, or you can just check us out on all the social media networks. Just find us at NerdBrand Agency. That's John who came up with that idea to make sure everything is the same.
Consistent.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, make that easy.
Wouldn't that
pet
be
peeve.
terrible if we didn't have brand consistency?
Yeah, no, we kind of
Wouldn't set a
Speaking
good
of
example.
consistency, are we going to do this again for Christmas movies?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
I'm
Can
up
I
for
come
that.
back? Can I be a guest that episode as well?
Oh, okay.
Yay.
This is where you break me because I'm like,
Now you
Wait.
have to.
wait a minute,
You're committed.
I can't even think.
Is
till
that your
next
jam?
Weekend.
Are you way more into Christmas, Jonathan?
No.
He's just like,
I'll confess,
I
I
like
don't
it, but-
even put a tree up. I'm not a bah humbug. I just
Bah humbug.
I live by myself. Give me a break. Like who's gonna look
all
at
right,
it? Me?
next episode. We'll be talking later.
Put it in
We're
your
definitely
window.
scheduling therapy, group therapy. I'm just kidding.
Jeez, if I wake
That'd
up
be
and there's a
fun.
Christmas tree in my living room, I'll be like, all right, who did it and how?
It's a new
He
horror
won't
movie.
even
Don't
have
give
to
us new
guess.
ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
Years ago, I actually worked for a guy when I was an engineer. He hated Christmas, so all the guys in the engineering department got one of those Charlie Brown trees and put it on his desk.
Oh my gosh.
Really bad idea. It was a really bad idea.
Did it come flying out his door?
Oh yeah, it did. He threw it out the door. I don't know.
Aw.
That was years ago though. But anyways, what a way to end this episode. That part you guys
Well,
can probably cut
it's
out.
it's just a little trailer for a month and a half from now. Keep listening.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, no, you're welcome to come back to the show anytime. You're one of the nerds, so we're happy to have you. And
Happy to be here.
yeah, it's great to have a fourth, at the table. So it's also great to finally be in a studio.
That's right.
So,
We're doing this for realsies now.
Yeah, we feel all professional and grown up. Kinda.
Well,
Big
But that's my
thanks.
fault.
not
Yeah.
too
Guys at
grown
Wayne
Yeah,
up.
because
Media.
now I'm like, oh
I mean-
man, I need to make sure I'm not sweating too much because I thought I'd be fine turning the camera on, do this all the time, put a mic in my face, I'm good. Now I'm sitting there and I'm like,
What do I do with? It's like Ricky Bobby.
right.
What do I do with my hand?
Yes, I'm like sitting here with my hands and I'm like remembering back in the day when I did the podcast with Brandon in 2016 because I'll put my hand up in my mouth and every time I get ready to put my hand near my mouth, I have a feeling one of the guys in the booth, if I glance
Stop
over, they're going to do this motion where they're like doing that. And they're going to say get your hand away from your mouth because it's in front of the mic, So there's all that's starting to flood back when Brandon and I used to sit in the show.
Nostalgia.
Yeah. it's
You did a
nostalgia.
great job.
Yeah.
You know.
I appreciate that.
You did.
Well, this studio is fabulous.
Yes.
So happy to be here with
Speakeasy
Media
guys are
Speakeasy.
great.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. So we appreciate it very much. Yes, take a
If
bow,
you can
sir.
put up with us,
Yeah, seriously. So with that, thank you for listening. Tune in next time. And remember, everybody out there, keep your nerd brand strong.
Whoop, whoop.
That's it.
All right. Everyone should grab glasses and we should put them on at the same time. Like case closed. Oh, it's a little challenging. It's squished under your headphones.
Yeah, I can't really do it because the
Let's
headphones,
try it again.
but it was a
Let's try
nice
it again.
thought.
okay. Ready?
Everybody out.
One.
1,
2, 3.
Episode finished.
That's a wrap.
yeah.
That's what we should do.